G'day guys, and welcome to the official first video of the quad shed. As mentioned in the previous intro video, what I'm going to be doing is mounting these boots onto the new LXT plate that I have, and I'm going to go through the whole process of measuring the boot, finding center, going through how I mark my center, how I work out how far forward I want it and that sort of stuff, and then I'm going to just go through the whole process of mounting. It's going to be over probably a few days. I'm just going to film it and then edit it up and see how we go. Got my nice little setup behind me. I've got my LXT boots and the zap plates there for the 165s on these. And then I've got my other skates on here, which are my track skates. One of my favorites, which are the soccer boot mount ones. But anyway, enough of that. So the first thing we do is obviously we've got to find the center of our boot. Now, I know there's a lot of talk out there about how to find the center of the boot, but we're not really finding the center of the boot. We're actually finding the center of your foot. Now, realistically, the foot, your center of your foot runs between the center of your heel and then goes between your second and third toe. That's pretty much the center of your foot. That's a rough estimate. Now, when I say all this, everyone's different. Everyone's got different shaped feet. And there is no 100% right or wrong way of doing it. Well, I suppose there's lots of wrong ways, but what you first do is find the center of the boot, and then there'll be little adjustments have to be made either way by looking at the top and stuff. Anyway, we'll explain that as we go along. So what I've got here is I've actually got the plate here. I've actually put wheels on it because that's part of the process of finding the center of the plate is put wheels on. So what I've done, I've shimmed them so they won't move, and I like using the narrow wheels because it just gives you a bit because for me it's more of a visual thing for me where I can see the center of the plate and how much wheel is sticking out each side of the boot. So I'll put this aside for the moment. We'll just put it over here. Now what I've done, I've taken the laces out and the inner soles out of the boots because we don't want to obviously drill through our inner soles and want to get the laces to get in the way. So the first step of the process is really just get a ruler and a pencil. Or what you can do, but if you don't want to do it, especially if you don't want to mark the soles, what I normally do is I'll get some masking tape and I'll just run masking tape on the bottom of the boot, roughly where you know you're going to have your center line. You can use a couple of pieces if you want. I didn't have any wide stuff, so I'm just using 2 pieces of the 25mm. I'll just put them side by side, and that gives me plenty of tape there to draw on so I don't mark the bottom of my boot. You don't have to stick it down too tight, just lay it on there as such. So it's just sitting on, the tape is just sitting like that on the boot. So something you can use a pencil on, draw on, or a pen. You can use a pen if you want. It doesn't matter, as long as you can see it, as long as the marks are nice and clear and you can see it. So I'll put the second one on. And we're ready to go. So we just need a nice ruler with millimeters, or I suppose if you want to go for inches, if that's fine. I use a nice steel ruler because that way I know it's nice and straight and it's nice and firm, and it actually bends a little bit, so it's good over the boot. So first thing we do is we find basically the center of the heel. So all we have to do is we then go across the center of the heel and get our measurements. Now I go off to like the 10mm mark, so because just in case the edge of your ruler is a bit not straight or a bit funky, so I just go to the 10mm mark and I line up the 10mm with the edge of the boot and come across. Now at the moment I'm going from 10 to 80, so that makes 70. So basically the center of my boot will be 35mm. So 10, 20, 30, 35. Come back fairly far. You can do a couple of different indications if you want on the heel to see where that center is. So I usually slide it up till I get like a dead on a whole number type thing. So it's 10 up to 10 to 70, which makes 60. So that makes 30, which is halfway. So you can see that I've marked a little mark there. So you can see that mark, this mark there, right there. I've marked that, it's the center of my heel. Now at the front of the boot, we want to find the widest part of the boot. Now I know a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not how you do it," but this is how I do it. This is my personal way. So I've been doing it for years, and that's the way I find the center of my boot. This is the first step of the process. It's not the be all and end all. There is another step after this. So we slide our ruler up once again, find that if you're confident with the edge of your ruler being correct, which I think this one is, so I'm going to use that, and then we find the widest part of the boot. So basically just line up and it's going 10 to 90, 10 to 95, 10 to 100, and about the widest part of the boot there is about 102, 103. As well, look into this. It's about 100, let's say 104. So 104, half 103 actually. So see if I can get right on. So 103. So half 103 is 51.5. I hope. 51.5. Okay, so 51.5. That's at the widest part of the boot. So you'll see here, there's a mark there. I'll show you the other second mark. There's the widest part of the boot. There is a center mark between there and there of 103. So 103 millimeters. So that's 51.5. 51.5, 52, 50, 103. I hope. If my math is correct. Math is correct. Okay, so there's our center mark boot at the back. Disregard that one there. We'll just cross that one out. So center of the heel at the back and here at the front. So now we just to get our ruler and we just line up. So we draw a line between. So we're on that line there, and we just draw a line all the way down. Oops. So it passes through those two marks. I'll just make that a little bit darker. This line here so I can get a bit darker so I can show you. So there you go, there is our center line. There's our center line on our boot. Middle of the heel, twin touch. And you can see there roughly, that would be the center of the boot like thing, but that you can see it's across. So you can see it's roughly between your second and your third toe lies. Now that's only the first starting point of the process. Obviously then, we now want to line up our plate of how we want it. Now, me personally, because these plates are a little bit longer for me, we want our axle to be at our pressure points if you had an ideal size plate. Now the way you do that is when you measure your foot for your axle, you measure the middle of your inside ankle bone. So you get it, stand on a piece of paper, get a square or a set square, or this is a square box, mark where the middle of your ankle is and mark that, and then come up to the front and where your big toe meets the ball of your foot, so that crease where the ball of your foot and the big toe meet, that is your other pressure point. Okay, because that's what you're pushing off. You're pushing off on your sole toe. So you press off on your heel and then you push off on that ball of the toe. You're not pushing off the ball, you're pushing off that point just forward of the ball where your toe and when the toe and ball of the foot meet. That's my personal opinion. Once again, mileage may vary or kilometers may vary depending on who you talk to and what sort of setup you want. Now this is pretty much more of a speed setup. What I do here is in speed. If you want to have more like a standard mount, you have more go from the center of the heel to the center of the ball of your foot. And that's the way, that's how you measure what size length axle you need, axle spread on your plates. As I said, these are a little bit long for me, these plates. Normally I go for a 155 or to a 160. Ideally a 160 is probably perfect for me, but these are a 167. So, but it's the only one I've got. So this is what I'm going to do with these. I'm actually going to mount these as pretty much as far forward as I can because I know that just from experience that I like to have my feet forward, my heels forward. So now what we can do, we can also mark, just put a little mark on our plates. So you can see the center, so you just go by eye. Just going to get a little texture. So I've got a texture here. I'm just going to mark the center of the plate at the front. Just going to go by eye. Just put a little dot there just so I can just see. Dot there. And a dot there. So you can see now on that shape, you can see that I've got a little mark on the plate there, and then I got one on the front also there, just a little black mark where it marks the center of the plate. Hopefully you can see that. Now I'm going to line this up on the line. Now I know I want to have it pretty much as far forward as I can, so without the plate going past the edge of the plate, edge of the boot, sorry. So for me, that's about there, because if I go any more forward, the plate will be protruding past the edge of the boot, which I don't really want. These plates, like I said in the past, they have a little bit of a big area at the front, a bit bigger than what the Zap plates are. So, but because these are a longer plate, not too bad. I've got that lined up there and there. And what we're going to try and do now we can do this a number of different ways. What I normally do, now I've got that centered like that over the front, I'm going to take one wheel off, lose the shim, and I'm going to use a little self tapper just to mark where that hole goes. Just mark where the hole is in the center of the hole. Do the opposite side. Alright, so I've got that lined up. Center, back, front, middle of the hole. And I'm just going to put one little mark there in the center. So what I've done there, I just marked two little center holes. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see them. I might mark them with the pencil as well, just so you can see. Now hopefully you can see that. Not sure if you can see that, but we'll see. So basically what I've got there is two little marks. Basically one just there and one there. I've got those marked, that's the center of the mounting holes. Okay. Might just put a little bit of a starting hole with these. And what I have these little self tappers. They're a short self tapper. They're only very, very short. Look, there it is. Only very, very short. I screw them nice and tight. They're nice and sharp, so they dig in quite well. So normally what I do is I screw those in to the plate. Not to the plate, through the hole, through the mounting hole. Screwdriver. Can be a bit finicky, and obviously when you're trying to do stuff on film, it always seems to go longer than you want it to. Right, just got to screw it so that self tap up takes into the boot. There it goes. And now the back hole. into the hole, into the mark that I had already done. Probably should have a longer screwdriver for this. Alright, that's tapping in now. So I just need to get a bit of more grip on it. There it goes. Alright, so you can see now I've basically self-tapped that plate in to the boot. You can see it's the self-tapper just there, one just there, and there's one just at the back. Now what I want to do now is put the wheels back on. So I put those on, put the shim back on over top. So it doesn't, just so I've got nice equal distance. Yeah, where'd the other offset went away? Oh, there it is. It's in the wheel. It's good. All right, so now we have a plate on there. Now what I want to do is I want to look over the top. I want to look over the top of the plate to see there's equal distance each side. Now you're not going to be able to see this well on the camera because the camera angles and the lenses sort of distort it. But just take my word for it that we're going to want basically the wheels to be poking out pretty much as much on one side as on the other. Now I can see at the moment that this at the back is pretty good, but on the front it probably needs to come across a little bit. Because these are a wider boot to the normal, they're probably a little bit distortive. Now, also when you're looking over the top, because you've got the two different angles, a curve on one side and the curve on the other, it sort of always is a guesstimation to a certain extent how that your wheels are basically set up on the how much they're protruding each side. But I can see just by experience that it just needs to go a little bit back that way. So I'll just So I'm just going to take this off here, unscrew that. And now because I've got the one on the back, it sort of doesn't move, it moves a little bit. I'm just going to stand up so I can look over the top. Because it's like I said, because it's so far forward and there's a lot wider boot, it's a little bit deceiving from when you do a normal boot that has a normal width. But they now are, I don't know if you can see that, I'll try and get that straight. You can see that the distance is pretty good each side. Because they're a narrow wheel, you don't see much protruding past because they're a narrow wheel. And on the back, we'll turn that around. Turn that around there. And you can see that the wheel is protruding about the same each side. Once again, like I said, trying to get this on camera properly is a bit difficult. So I basically have now, just have to just shift it while I moved. So I'm pretty happy with that. And what I'll do, I'll just mark another hole. I might actually mark the other side. Mark the other mounting hole, or back one, just so I don't go into the same, just so it doesn't get shifted around. Move that across a bit. From my other. I know this is a bit boring, a bit tedious and slow to watch, but this is important. So you've got to get it right. So hopefully that what I'm saying understands, of course this is years and years of me doing it. trying to explain some things on camera is always sometimes a bit difficult. So I'm going to actually start this without this plate first. Get that thread going. Alright, it's good. Put the plate back over. There we go. Now what you can do, you can put this thing, take this off, you know, slip it on your foot and give a stand on it and see how it feels. Oops, get the microphone away. So I could probably put this on my shoe now, on my foot, which I might do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my boot off. Bang. It's the left foot. And I'm going to place it on. Because I've got 2 screws in there, I'm going to sort of, yeah, stand on it. It's not too bad. And it feels pretty good. Okay. Sorry, that wasn't very exciting for you guys watching on the video, was it? Because you couldn't see a thing. But I put it on, stood on it, and it felt pretty good. This has come from years' experience of me mounting skates. I've been mounting skates for over 40-something years, so maybe even 45 years. So it's come from experience. So sometimes these things are hard to explain. I'm trying my best to explain to you guys. Have any questions? Just ask. And see how we go. Okay, so that's the first part basically of the thing. So I now have this lined up. I'll do the second one off camera and then we can, so we don't want to see, have to do both. But basically what I have now, if you want to see that again, so we can just see that the boot is pretty much, I'll get that in the camera properly. You see that the, see if I can get it in that one. So, pretty much the wheels are even each side. Get that in there. And at the back. Like I said, camera angle and lenses makes it sort of difficult. But I'm quite happy with that. They are nicely set forward. It's quite nice actually. I like the look of that. That actually looks nice. Like I said, a little bit long for me, but there you go. Alright guys, well that was part 1. So basically finding center and basically temporarily just mounting your boot before you start the drilling. So like I said, this is part 1 of the mounting process and I'll be back for part 2. See you guys, take it easy, hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go edit this up now and see how it looks and then put it out there. Alright guys, take it easy, thanks for watching the Quad Shed, which now incorporates, like I said, the Quad Skate channel, LXT Down Under, and Skate Australia bring back quads. See you guys. Bye.